Tired of feeling stuck and unproductive? The audiobook, Stop Chasing Pleasure, Pursue Pain and End Laziness Forever, reveals the counterintuitive secret to conquering laziness forever. Discover how embracing discomfort can unlock your full potential, skyrocket your productivity, and lead to extraordinary achievements. Don't let fear of discomfort hold you back from the life you deserve. Transform your approach to challenges, redefine success, and embark on a journey that turns obstacles into opportunities. Your future self will thank you. Before we go on, I invite you to download the free bundle, which contains the ebook version of this book and an executive summary of all the chapters with the key takeaways. Studies show that engaging with content through multiple formats significantly enhances learning and retention. Click on the first link in the description to claim your free bundle now and maximize your learning potential. Now it's free, but it won't be for long, so make sure to grab it while you can. Chapter 1: Through the Looking Glass. In a world obsessed with comfort and instant gratification, we find ourselves at a crossroads. The very conveniences that were meant to improve our lives have become silent saboteurs of our potential. As you open this book, you're about to embark on a journey that will challenge everything you thought you knew about success, productivity, and personal growth. Welcome to the other side of the looking glass, where pain becomes your ally and discomfort your greatest teacher. Imagine a life where every challenge excites you, where obstacles are seen as opportunities, and where the pursuit of growth trumps the allure of fleeting pleasures. This isn't a far-fetched fantasy. It's the reality that awaits you on the other side of conventional thinking. Our society has conditioned us to seek comfort at all costs, to avoid pain and discomfort as if they were plagues. But what if this very mindset is holding us back from achieving true greatness? The paradox of modern comfort is that it breeds complacency. We've become so accustomed to instant results and effortless solutions that we've lost touch with the transformative power of struggle. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly alive, invigorated by a challenge that pushed you to your limits? Chances are, it wasn't while lounging on your couch, scrolling through social media. This book is your wake-up call, your invitation to step out of the cozy bubble of mediocrity and into the exhilarating realm of purposeful discomfort. By the time you finish reading, you'll have developed a new perspective on productivity and personal growth. You'll begin to see pain not as something to be avoided, but as a tool to be wielded in your quest for self-improvement. But let's be clear, this isn't about embracing suffering for its own sake. It's about recognizing that true fulfillment and success often lie on the other side of discomfort. It's about understanding that by willingly stepping into challenging situations, we forge ourselves into stronger, more capable individuals. As you progress through this book and apply its principles, you'll notice a shift in your mindset and abilities. Initially, you might find yourself more willing to take on tasks that you previously avoided. You'll start to view obstacles as intriguing puzzles rather than insurmountable barriers. This is just the beginning. Over time, as you continue to practice and internalize these concepts, you'll develop a level of resilience that will astound you. Challenges that once seemed daunting will become exciting opportunities for growth. You'll find yourself tackling increasingly complex goals with a sense of enthusiasm and confidence that you never thought possible. But what exactly does this journey entail? What are the steps that will lead you from where you are now to this new paradigm of productivity and personal growth? The first and most crucial step is identifying your comfort zones. We all have areas in our lives where we've settled into routines that feel safe and predictable. These comfort zones might be in our work habits, our relationships, or our personal development. Recognizing these areas is essential because they represent the boundaries you'll need to push against to grow. Once you've identified your comfort zones, the next step is to deliberately and consistently step beyond them. This doesn't mean throwing yourself into overwhelming situations. Instead, it's about gradually expanding your boundaries, taking on challenges that stretch you just beyond your current capabilities. Embracing discomfort as a growth opportunity is where the real transformation begins. This means reframing your perception of difficult situations. Instead of viewing them as threats or inconveniences, you'll learn to see them as valuable learning experiences. Each moment of discomfort becomes a chance to build your mental and emotional resilience. Why are these steps so important, and why have they been presented in this order? Understanding the role of discomfort in achieving success is foundational to everything else we'll explore in this book. Without this understanding, the techniques and strategies in later chapters might seem counterintuitive or even pointless. By first grasping why discomfort is essential for growth, you'll be more motivated to apply the specific methods we'll discuss. Moreover, this approach builds a solid foundation for the more advanced techniques we'll cover. You're not just learning isolated tricks, you're developing a comprehensive mindset that will transform how you approach every aspect of your life. As we challenge conventional beliefs about success and productivity, we'll confront the paradox of modern comfort head-on. We live in an age where convenience is king, where apps and gadgets promise to make our lives easier at every turn. But has this really made us more fulfilled or successful? Or has it simply made us more complacent, less resilient, and ultimately less capable of achieving our true potential? By redefining success through the lens of discomfort, we open up new possibilities for personal growth and achievement. Success isn't just about reaching a particular goal. It's about who you become in the process. It's about developing the mental toughness and adaptability to thrive in any situation. As you prepare for the journey ahead, it's crucial to understand that embracing pain as an ally doesn't mean becoming a masochist. It's about recognizing that discomfort is often a sign that you're growing, learning, and pushing your boundaries. It's about understanding that the most rewarding experiences in life often come wrapped in challenges. Shifting your perspective on productivity is another vital aspect of this journey. Productivity isn't just about getting more things done. It's about doing the things that truly matter, even when they're difficult. It's about having the discipline to work on important tasks, especially when you don't feel like it. As we conclude this first chapter, you might be feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension. That's perfectly normal. You're standing at the threshold of a transformative journey, one that will challenge you in ways you've never experienced before. But remember, on the other side of these challenges lies a version of yourself that you've always aspired to be: resilient, focused, and capable of achieving extraordinary things. In the chapters that follow, we'll delve deeper into specific strategies and techniques that will help you embrace discomfort and end laziness forever. We'll explore concepts like wading through fire, where you'll learn to view challenges as exhilarating adventures rather than daunting obstacles. You'll discover how to harness the power of the tomorrow paradox to fuel your actions today. But for now, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned. Consider the areas of your life where you've been avoiding discomfort. Think about the goals you've put off because they seemed too challenging. As you turn the page to the next chapter, ask yourself, are you ready to step through the looking glass and embrace a new way of thinking about success and personal growth? The journey ahead will be challenging, but it will also be incredibly rewarding. It's time to stop chasing fleeting pleasures and start pursuing the kind of growth that leads to lasting fulfillment. The path to extraordinary achievement lies just beyond your comfort zone. Are you ready to take the first step? Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to Grow to the Top and activate notifications to receive more self-improvement tips that will supercharge your growth. And make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. It really helps the channel grow. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2, Wading Through Fire. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, shimmering expanse. The ground beneath your feet is solid, comfortable, familiar. But ahead of you lies something different, a landscape that seems to ripple and dance with an otherworldly energy. It's intimidating, perhaps even a little frightening. Yet there's something alluring about it, something that calls to a part of you that you may have forgotten existed. This is where our journey truly begins. The comfortable ground you're standing on, that's your comfort zone. And that mysterious, challenging landscape ahead, that's where your true potential lies. Welcome to the concept of wading through fire. Now, before you start picturing literal flames, let's clarify what we mean by fire. In this context, fire represents the discomfort, the challenges, and the obstacles that we often try to avoid in our daily lives. It's the difficult conversation you've been putting off, the skill you've always wanted to learn but never started, the goal that seems just out of reach. These are the fires that we need to wade through to transform ourselves. But why would anyone willingly step into discomfort? Isn't the whole point of life to seek comfort and avoid pain? This is where we need to challenge our conventional thinking. The truth is, our greatest moments of growth, our most profound achievements, and our deepest sense of fulfillment often come not from comfort, but from pushing through discomfort. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly proud of yourself? Chances are it wasn't when you were lounging on the couch, scrolling through your phone. It was probably when you accomplished something challenging, when you pushed yourself beyond what you thought you were capable of. This is why embracing discomfort is so crucial for ending laziness. When we shy away from challenges, we rob ourselves of opportunities for growth. We settle into routines that feel safe but ultimately leave us stagnant. By learning to wade through the fire of discomfort, we encourage ourselves to engage proactively with challenges. We build mental toughness and resilience that serve us in all areas of life. But how do we begin to shift our perception of discomfort from something to be avoided to something to be embraced? It starts with reimagining discomfort itself. Instead of viewing it as a barrier, try seeing it as an adventure. Each challenge becomes a new landscape to explore, a new mountain to climb, a new skill to master. This shift in perspective can be transformative. Suddenly, that difficult project at work isn't a burden, it's an opportunity to showcase your problem-solving skills. The nervousness you feel before a presentation isn't a sign of weakness, it's your body gearing up for an exciting performance. By reframing discomfort as an adventure, you open yourself up to a world of possibilities. Moreover, this approach to discomfort strengthens you with every step. Just as a muscle grows stronger when subjected to resistance, your mental and emotional resilience grow when you willingly engage with challenges. Each time you push through discomfort, you're building your capacity to handle even greater challenges in the future. Of course, this mindset shift doesn't happen overnight. It requires conscious effort and practice. One effective way to cultivate this mindset is to actively seek out challenges for personal development. This doesn't mean you need to make your life unnecessarily difficult. Rather, it's about identifying areas where you want to grow and deliberately putting yourself in situations that stretch your abilities. For instance, if public speaking makes you nervous, you might volunteer to give a presentation at work or join a local Toastmasters club. If you've always wanted to learn a new language but keep putting it off, you could commit to practicing for 15 minutes every day, especially on days when you don't feel like it. The key is to start small and gradually increase the level of challenge as your comfort with discomfort grows. Building resilience through this process is like forging a sword. Each time you face a challenge, you're hammering out impurities, strengthening your core, and sharpening your edge. Over time, you'll find that situations that once seemed overwhelming become manageable, even exciting. To help you put these ideas into practice, consider incorporating daily discomfort challenges into your routine. These don't have to be grand gestures. They can be as simple as taking a cold shower, striking up a conversation with a stranger, or tackling that task you've been procrastinating on. The goal is to regularly push yourself just slightly beyond your comfort zone. Alongside these challenges, keeping a journal of your experiences can be incredibly valuable. Write about the discomforts you faced, how you felt before, during, and after, and what you learned from each experience. This practice not only helps reinforce the lessons you're learning, but also provides a tangible record of your growth over time. As you embark on this journey of wading through fire, it's important to consider the potential outcomes. At a minimum, you'll likely find yourself more willing to face discomfort. You'll stop automatically shying away from challenges and start seeing them as opportunities. This alone can open up new possibilities in your personal and professional life. With consistent practice, you might find yourself regularly seeking out and overcoming challenges. You'll develop a reputation as someone who can be counted on to tackle difficult tasks. Your confidence will grow, and with it, your ability to take on even greater challenges. In the best-case scenario, you'll find yourself thriving in high-pressure situations. The fire that once seemed intimidating will become your element. You'll achieve significant personal growth, accomplishing goals that once seemed out of reach. More importantly, you'll develop a deep sense of self-efficacy, a belief in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. Of course, this path is not without its potential pitfalls. There may be times when you feel overwhelmed by discomfort. In these moments, it's important to remember that growth is a process. If you find yourself struggling, it's okay to step back and start with smaller challenges. The goal is progress, not perfection. You might also encounter periods where you find yourself avoiding discomfort altogether. This is natural. Old habits die hard. In these situations, having an accountability partner can be invaluable. Find someone who shares your goals or understands your journey. Check in with them regularly, share your challenges and successes, and let them encourage you when you're struggling to stay on track. As we conclude this chapter, take a moment to reflect on what wading through fire means to you. What are the fires in your life that you've been avoiding? What growth and achievements might be waiting for you on the other side of those challenges? Remember, the goal isn't to seek out pain for its own sake. It's about recognizing that on the other side of discomfort lies growth, achievement, and a deeper sense of fulfillment. By learning to wade through the fire of challenges, you're not just enduring, you're transforming. As you move forward, keep in mind that this is just the beginning of your journey. In the next chapter, we'll explore a concept that might seem paradoxical at first. How can focusing on tomorrow drive your actions today? The answer lies in a powerful technique that will revolutionize how you approach your goals and aspirations. But for now, let the fire of possibility ignite your imagination and fuel your determination to embrace the challenges that lie ahead. Chapter 3: Tomorrow Paradox. Have you ever found yourself caught in the endless cycle of procrastination, putting off important tasks until that elusive tomorrow arrives? It's a common struggle, one that can leave us feeling stuck and unproductive. But what if I told you that tomorrow, that distant point in the future, could actually be the key to unlocking your productivity today? Welcome to the Tomorrow Paradox, a concept that might initially seem counterintuitive, but has the power to revolutionize how you approach your goals and daily tasks. At its core, this paradox challenges us to rethink our relationship with time and motivation. It asks us to consider, how can focusing on the future drive our actions in the present? To understand this paradox, we need to delve into the workings of our mind. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. This instinct, while useful for survival, can sometimes work against us when it comes to long-term goals. We often choose immediate gratification, like relaxing on the couch, over actions that might be challenging now but beneficial in the future, like working on a project. But what if we could hack this system? What if we could make our brain perceive future rewards as immediate and tangible? This is where the power of the tomorrow paradox comes into play. By vividly imagining our future success, we can create a strong emotional connection to those future rewards. This connection can be so powerful that it motivates us to take action in the present. Think about it for a moment. When you're excited about an upcoming event, doesn't that excitement influence your actions leading up to it? The tomorrow paradox works on a similar principle, but instead of waiting for external events, we're creating that excitement ourselves through a technique called future pacing. Future pacing is a psychological strategy that involves projecting yourself into a future where you've successfully achieved your goals. It's not just about daydreaming or wishful thinking. It's about creating a vivid, detailed mental image of your future success, complete with all the positive emotions and sensations that come with it. When you engage in future pacing, you're essentially giving your brain a taste of future success. You're allowing yourself to experience the pride, joy, and satisfaction of achieving your goals before you've actually done so. This preview of success can be incredibly motivating, providing the push you need to overcome laziness and take action in the present. But how exactly does this help end laziness? The key lies in the connection it creates between present actions and future rewards. When we're caught in the grip of laziness, it's often because we can't see the immediate benefit of our actions. The rewards seem too distant, too abstract. Future pacing bridges this gap by making those future rewards feel real and immediate. Moreover, this technique can be a powerful tool for overcoming procrastination. When you have a clear, emotionally charged vision of your future success, it becomes easier to push through the initial resistance of starting a task. The discomfort or boredom you might feel in the moment pales in comparison to the vivid future reward you've imagined. To harness the power of the tomorrow paradox, start by setting aside time each day for visualization. Find a quiet space where you won't be interrupted, close your eyes, and project yourself into the future. Imagine yourself having achieved your most important goals. What does it look like? How does it feel? Engage all your senses in this visualization. For example, if your goal is to write a book, imagine holding the finished product in your hands. Feel the weight of it, the texture of the cover. Picture yourself at a book signing, interacting with readers who have been moved by your words. Imagine the sense of pride and accomplishment washing over you. The more detailed and emotionally engaging your visualization, the more powerful its effect will be. It's important to note that this isn't about escaping into fantasy. The purpose of this exercise is to create a compelling vision that motivates real action. After each visualization session, take a moment to identify one concrete step you can take today to move closer to that future. Another practical way to leverage the tomorrow paradox is by creating a vision board. This is a visual representation of your long-term goals and aspirations. It can include images, quotes, or any other elements that represent your desired future. Place this vision board somewhere you'll see it every day, serving as a constant reminder of what you're working towards. As you begin to implement these techniques, you might notice some immediate benefits. You may find yourself more motivated to work towards your goals, tackling tasks with renewed energy and purpose. This increased motivation is a good start, but it's just the beginning of what's possible. With consistent practice, you might find yourself regularly achieving short-term goals that align with your future vision. Each small victory builds momentum, reinforcing your belief in your ability to shape your future. You're no longer just dreaming about tomorrow, you're actively creating it through your actions today. In the best-case scenario, you'll find yourself consistently making progress towards your long-term aspirations. The tomorrow paradox becomes not just a technique, but a way of life. You're constantly bridging the gap between present and future, using your vision of tomorrow to fuel your actions today. Of course, as with any powerful tool, there are potential pitfalls to be aware of. One common issue is a lack of clarity in visualization. If your future vision is too vague or unrealistic, it may not provide the motivational boost you're looking for. The solution is to refine and specify your future goals. Make them as concrete and achievable as possible, while still being ambitious enough to excite you. Another potential problem is disconnection from your future vision. Over time, you might find that your visualizations lose their emotional impact. This is why it's crucial to regularly update and review your visualizations. As you grow and your circumstances change, your vision of the future should evolve too. Keep it fresh, relevant, and emotionally engaging. The tomorrow paradox is a powerful tool in your journey to overcome laziness and boost productivity. By harnessing the power of your imagination and creating a strong emotional connection to your future success, You can motivate yourself to take action in the present. Remember, the future you envision is not set in stone. It's a target, a source of inspiration that you can use to guide your actions today. As we conclude this chapter, I invite you to take a moment to imagine your ideal future. What does it look like? How does it feel? Let that vision inspire you to take one small step towards it today. And as you do, remember that this is just one of the tools at your disposal. In the next chapter, we'll explore a concept that might seem contradictory to everything we've discussed so far. How can breaking things down actually help you achieve more? The answer lies in a powerful technique that will change the way you approach even the most daunting tasks. But for now, let the promise of tomorrow guide your actions today, and watch as the paradox unfolds in your own life. Chapter 4, Tiny Trials. Have you ever stood at the base of a mountain, craning your neck to see the peak, feeling overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the climb ahead? That's how many of us feel when faced with large, complex tasks or ambitious goals. The enormity of what lies ahead can be paralyzing, leading to procrastination and inaction. But what if I told you there's a way to conquer that mountain without ever feeling overwhelmed? Welcome to the world of tiny trials. The concept of tiny trials might seem counterintuitive at first. After all, we live in a world that often celebrates grand gestures and monumental efforts. We're told to go big or go home, to make sweeping changes and transformative leaps. But what if the key to significant achievement lies not in these grand efforts, but in the power of the minuscule? Tiny trials are about embracing the small, the manageable, the seemingly insignificant. They're about recognizing that every journey, no matter how long or arduous, begins with a single step. But more than that, they're about understanding that it's these small steps, taken consistently, that ultimately lead us to our destination. Think about how you might approach that mountain if instead of focusing on the distant peak, you concentrated on the path immediately in front of you. One step, then another, and another. Each step is a tiny trial, a small challenge that you can easily overcome. Before you know it, you've made significant progress without ever feeling overwhelmed. This approach is particularly powerful when it comes to ending laziness. One of the main reasons we procrastinate is because tasks seem too daunting. We look at the big picture and feel overwhelmed, so we put off starting altogether. Tiny trials combat this by breaking down these intimidating tasks into manageable pieces. Imagine you have a large project due. Instead of thinking about the project as a whole, which might seem overwhelming, you break it down into tiny, specific tasks. Write the introduction becomes, write one paragraph of the introduction. Research the topic becomes, find and read one relevant article. These micro-challenges are far less intimidating, making it easier to start and maintain momentum. The beauty of tiny trials lies in their ability to build confidence through small, consistent wins. Each micro-challenge you complete is a tiny victory. These victories, no matter how small they might seem, have a powerful psychological effect. They release dopamine in your brain, creating a sense of accomplishment and motivating you to tackle the next challenge. Over time, these tiny victories accumulate, leading to substantial progress. It's like compound interest for your productivity. Each small action builds on the last, creating a momentum that can carry you through even the most daunting tasks. But how do we put this concept into practice? Start by identifying a task or goal that you've been putting off. Now, instead of thinking about how to accomplish the entire task, ask yourself, what's the smallest possible step I could take towards this goal? Make it so small that it seems almost ridiculous. Want to write a book? Start with writing a single sentence. Want to get in shape? Begin with a single push-up. The key is to make these micro-challenges so small and specific that you can't talk yourself out of doing them. They should be so easy that the effort of doing them is less than the mental effort of making excuses not to do them. Once you've identified your micro-challenge, commit to doing it daily. Consistency is crucial here. It's better to do one push-up every day than to do 100 push-ups once and then nothing for weeks. The goal is to build a habit of taking action, no matter how small. As you complete these daily micro-challenges, make sure to track your progress. This could be as simple as marking an X on a calendar for each day you complete your challenge. Seeing these marks accumulate can be incredibly motivating, providing a visual representation of your consistency and progress. Equally important is celebrating your small wins. Did you write that sentence? Fantastic. Did you do that push-up? Awesome. These celebrations might seem silly at first, but they reinforce the positive feelings associated with taking action, making it more likely that you'll continue. As you become comfortable with your initial micro-challenges, gradually increase their scope. That single sentence might become a paragraph. That single push-up might become 5. The key is to increase the challenge slowly, always ensuring that it remains manageable and non-intimidating. So what can you expect as you embrace the concept of tiny trials? At a minimum, you'll likely find yourself completing small tasks more regularly. This alone is a significant improvement for many people struggling with laziness and procrastination. As you continue, you might notice consistent progress on larger projects. Those small, daily actions start to add up, and suddenly you realize you're making real headway on goals that once seemed insurmountable. In the best-case scenario, you'll develop a mastery of breaking down and completing complex tasks. This skill is invaluable, applicable not just to your current goals, but to any challenge you might face in the future. You'll have trained yourself to see the manageable steps in any task, no matter how daunting it might initially appear. Of course, as with any approach, there are potential pitfalls to be aware of. One common issue is feeling overwhelmed by too many tasks. In your enthusiasm to break everything down into micro-challenges, you might end up with an intimidating list of small tasks. If this happens, take a step back and prioritize. Focus on the micro-challenges that will have the most significant impact on your most important goals. Another potential problem is a lack of progress despite completing your micro-challenges. If this occurs, it might be a sign that your challenges are too small or not directly related to your larger goals. In this case, reassess your micro-challenges. Make sure they're directly contributing to your larger objectives, and consider making them slightly more challenging if you're consistently completing them with ease. Remember, the goal of tiny trials is not to stay small forever. It's to build momentum, confidence, and habits that will carry you towards your larger goals. It's about making progress manageable and consistent, turning the daunting into the doable. As we conclude this chapter, I encourage you to identify one area of your life where you've been procrastinating. What's the tiniest step you could take towards progress in this area? Commit to that step, no matter how small it might seem. You might be surprised at how quickly these tiny trials can lead to significant transformations. And as you embark on your journey of tiny trials, keep in mind that this is just one tool in your arsenal against laziness. In our next chapter, we'll explore a concept that might seem to contradict everything we've discussed so far. How can telling yourself not to do something actually motivate you to take action? The answer lies in a psychological trick that can turn your inner rebel into your greatest ally. But for now, focus on your tiny trials and watch as small steps lead to giant leaps in your productivity and personal growth. Chapter 5, Inverse Game. Have you ever noticed how being told you can't do something often makes you want to do it even more? There's a peculiar quirk in human nature that rebels against limitations, even self-imposed ones. This chapter delves into a counterintuitive approach to motivation that plays on this very tendency. Welcome to the inverse game. At first glance, the concept of the inverse game might seem paradoxical. After all, how can telling yourself not to do something actually motivate you to do it? It's a technique that flies in the face of conventional wisdom about goal setting and self-motivation. Yet, when applied correctly, it can be a powerful tool in your arsenal against laziness and procrastination. The inverse game is all about harnessing the power of your inner rebel. It's about recognizing that sometimes the quickest way to get yourself to do something is to tell yourself you can't or shouldn't do it. This approach taps into a fundamental aspect of human psychology, our innate desire for freedom and our tendency to resist constraints. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you found yourself procrastinating on a task only to suddenly feel motivated when you realize you're running out of time? That last-minute rush of productivity isn't just about the pressure of the deadline. It's also about the realization that you might not be able to complete the task, which triggers a desire to prove that limitation wrong. The inverse game takes this natural tendency and turns it into a deliberate strategy. Instead of waiting for external constraints to motivate you, you create artificial limitations that spark your desire to rebel against them. It's a form of reverse psychology, but applied to yourself rather than others. But why is this approach particularly effective for ending laziness? The answer lies in how it circumvents our usual patterns of resistance. When we're feeling lazy or unmotivated, direct attempts to push ourselves into action often fail. We resist our own efforts, coming up with excuses, or simply ignoring our self-imposed directives. The inverse game sidesteps this resistance by aligning with it rather than fighting against it. By telling yourself you can't or shouldn't do something, you're not fighting your resistance, you're redirecting it. Your natural inclination to resist is now pointed towards the limitation you've created rather than towards the task itself. So, how does this work in practice? Let's say you've been putting off starting a project. Instead of telling yourself, I need to start working on this right now, try telling yourself, I'm not allowed to work on this project today. You might find that suddenly the project seems more appealing. Your mind starts to rebel against the limitation, coming up with reasons why you should, in fact, start working on it. This technique can be particularly effective for breaking through creative blocks. If you're struggling to write, for example, try telling yourself, I'm not allowed to write more than one sentence today. You might find that once you've written that one sentence, you feel a strong urge to continue, to rebel against the limitation you've set for yourself. The key to making the inverse game work is to make the limitations you set believable, but also slightly absurd. They need to be plausible enough that part of your mind accepts them, but unreasonable enough that another part of your mind wants to rebel against them. To get started with the inverse game, try setting up some reverse psychology challenges for yourself. Choose a task you've been procrastinating on and create a limitation around it. Maybe you'll tell yourself you're only allowed to work on it for 5 minutes, or that you can only do the easiest part of the task. As you experiment with this technique, it can be helpful to keep a journal of your reactions and outcomes. Note how you feel when you set the limitation, how you respond to it, and what the ultimate outcome is. This reflection can help you refine your approach and understand which types of inverse challenges work best for you. The potential outcomes of mastering the inverse game can be significant. At a basic level, you might find yourself more motivated to complete tasks, especially ones you've been putting off. As you become more adept at using this technique, you might find yourself regularly overcoming internal resistance, tackling challenges with a newfound sense of determination. In the best-case scenario, you could develop a mastery of self-motivation techniques that allows you to consistently overcome laziness and procrastination. The inverse game could become just one tool in a sophisticated toolkit of psychological strategies you use to keep yourself motivated and productive. However, like any powerful tool, the inverse game comes with potential pitfalls. One risk is becoming over-reliant on reverse psychology to motivate yourself. While it can be an effective technique, it shouldn't be your only source of motivation. It's important to balance this approach with intrinsic motivation, doing things because you genuinely want to, not just because you're rebelling against a self-imposed limitation. Another potential issue is that some people might find themselves resistant to contrarian techniques. If you find that the inverse game isn't working for you, don't force it. Instead, try adapting the strategy to your personal preferences. Maybe instead of telling yourself you can't do something, you could frame it as a challenge. I bet I can't finish this in an hour. Find the framing that resonates best with your personality and mindset. Remember, The goal of the inverse game isn't to trick yourself constantly, but to learn how to leverage your natural tendencies to your advantage. It's about understanding the quirks of your own psychology and using them to overcome laziness and boost productivity. As you start to implement the inverse game in your life, pay attention to how it affects not just your actions, but also your thoughts and feelings about the tasks you're tackling. You might find that it not only helps you get things done, but also changes your overall attitude towards challenging or tedious tasks. The inverse game is a powerful reminder that motivation doesn't always have to come from positive affirmations or direct commands. Sometimes, the path to action lies in the opposite direction of what we might expect. By learning to play this game effectively, you can turn your inner rebel into your most powerful ally in the fight against laziness. As we conclude this chapter, I encourage you to experiment with the inverse game. Choose a task you've been avoiding and set a counterintuitive limitation for yourself. See how your mind reacts, and don't be afraid to adjust your approach as you learn what works best for you. And as you explore the power of reverse psychology, keep in mind that motivation can come from unexpected sources. In our next chapter, we'll delve into a concept that might seem more at home in a casino than in a productivity guide. How can the element of chance boost your motivation and help you overcome laziness? The answer lies in a surprising technique that turns productivity into a game of chance. But for now, focus on mastering the inverse game and watch as your inner rebel becomes your greatest motivator. Chapter 6, Random Jackpot. Have you ever wondered why people can spend hours at slot machines, pulling the lever again and again, even when they're not winning? There's something oddly captivating about the possibility of a reward, especially when you don't know exactly when it's coming. This phenomenon isn't just limited to casinos. It's a powerful psychological principle that can be harnessed to transform your productivity and help you overcome laziness. Welcome to the concept of the random jackpot, a strategy that turns the mundane into the exciting, the tedious into the thrilling. At first glance, the idea of randomness might seem at odds with productivity. After all, aren't we supposed to be creating structure and routine to combat laziness? But what if I told you that a touch of unpredictability could be the secret ingredient your productivity system is missing? The random jackpot strategy taps into a fundamental aspect of human psychology, our love of surprises and our innate desire for rewards. It's based on the principle of intermittent reinforcement, a concept that has fascinated psychologists for decades. This principle suggests that behaviors are more likely to be repeated when the rewards for those behaviors are unpredictable. Think about it for a moment. When you know exactly what reward you're going to get for completing a task, it can sometimes feel, well, a bit boring. There's no element of surprise, no thrill of the unknown. But when you're not sure what you might get, or when you might get it, suddenly the whole process becomes more engaging. This is where the jackpot part comes in. By introducing an element of chance into your reward system, you create a sense of anticipation and excitement. Every task you complete becomes a potential winner, a chance to hit the jackpot. This transforms even the most mundane activities into opportunities for a pleasant surprise. But why is this approach particularly effective for ending laziness? The answer lies in how it keeps motivation high through unpredictability. When we're feeling lazy, it's often because we've lost our enthusiasm for the tasks at hand. They feel repetitive, unexciting, or simply too challenging. The random jackpot strategy injects a dose of excitement into these tasks, making them feel more like a game and less like a chore. Moreover, this approach transforms mundane tasks into engaging activities. Instead of dreading your to-do list, you might find yourself looking forward to tackling it, curious about what rewards you might unlock. This shift in perspective can be a powerful antidote to procrastination and laziness. So, how can you implement a random jackpot system in your own life? The key is to create a reward system that's both unpredictable and meaningful to you. Start by making a list of rewards that you genuinely enjoy. These could range from small treats to larger indulgences, depending on your preferences and circumstances. Next, assign these rewards to different tasks or achievements. But here's the crucial part. Don't tell yourself which reward corresponds to which task. You might use a random number generator, a deck of cards, or any other method to randomly select a reward each time you complete a task or reach a goal. For example, let's say you have a list of 10 potential rewards. Each time you complete a task from your to-do list, you could roll a die. If you roll a 1 to 5, you get the corresponding reward from your list. If you roll a 6, you get to choose any reward you want. That's your jackpot. The beauty of this system is that it makes productivity feel like a game. Each task you complete is like pulling the lever on a slot machine. You never know what you might get, but the possibility of a reward, especially a big one, keeps you engaged and motivated. To make this strategy even more effective, consider varying the frequency of rewards. Sometimes you might get a reward for every task completed, other times it might be every third or fifth task. This variability adds another layer of unpredictability, further enhancing the excitement factor. As you implement your random jackpot system, it's important to track its effectiveness. Keep a journal of your tasks, rewards, and how you feel about the process. This will help you adjust and refine your system over time, ensuring it remains engaging and motivating. The potential outcomes of mastering the random jackpot strategy can be significant. At a basic level, you might find increased enjoyment in your daily tasks. Tasks that once felt like drudgery might become opportunities for pleasant surprises. This shift in perspective alone can be a powerful antidote to laziness. As you continue with this approach, you might experience sustained motivation over time. The unpredictability of the rewards keeps the system fresh and exciting, preventing the burnout that can often occur with more rigid reward systems. In the best-case scenario, you could develop a mastery of using rewards to drive productivity. You might find yourself naturally more motivated, even without the explicit promise of rewards. The random jackpot strategy can help rewire your brain to associate productivity with positive feelings, making it easier to overcome laziness in the long term. However, like any powerful tool, the random jackpot strategy comes with potential pitfalls. One risk is becoming overly dependent on rewards for motivation. While external rewards can be a useful tool, it's important to cultivate intrinsic motivation as well. To avoid this, gradually reduce your reliance on rewards over time. As you become more naturally motivated, you can make the rewards less frequent or reserve them for particularly challenging tasks. Another potential issue is an inconsistent reward system. If the system becomes too predictable or the rewards lose their appeal, it may become less effective. To prevent this, regularly review and adjust your reward system. Update your list of potential rewards, change the frequency of rewards, or introduce new elements of unpredictability to keep the system engaging. Remember, the goal of the random jackpot strategy isn't to make you dependent on rewards, but to help you associate productivity with positive feelings. It's about making the process of overcoming laziness more enjoyable and engaging. As you start to implement the random jackpot strategy in your life, pay attention to how it affects not just your productivity, but also your overall attitude towards tasks and challenges. You might find that it not only helps you get things done, but also changes your relationship with work and productivity in general. The random jackpot strategy is a powerful reminder that productivity doesn't have to be a dry, serious affair. By injecting an element of fun and unpredictability into your tasks, you can transform the way you approach your responsibilities and overcome laziness in a sustainable way. As we conclude this chapter, I encourage you to design your own random jackpot system. Create a list of rewards, decide on a method for randomizing them, and start applying this strategy to your daily tasks. Be playful with it, and don't be afraid to adjust the system as you go along. And as you explore the power of random rewards, consider this. What if the most effective motivator isn't something external at all, but something much closer to home? In our next chapter, we'll delve into a concept that might seem counterintuitive at first. How can the presence of another person even if they're not directly involved in your task, dramatically boost your productivity? The answer lies in a fascinating psychological phenomenon that turns solitary work into a shared experience. But for now, focus on setting up your random jackpot system and watch as the element of chance transforms your approach to productivity. Chapter 7, Deadline Mirage. Have you ever noticed how time seems to bend and stretch according to our needs? When we're enjoying ourselves, hours fly by in what feels like minutes. But when we're faced with a tedious task, minutes can drag on like hours. This peculiar relationship with time is at the heart of our next strategy for overcoming laziness and boosting productivity. Imagine a world where every task you needed to complete came with a ticking clock, a sense of urgency that propelled you into action. Sounds stressful, right? But what if I told you that this pressure, when applied correctly, could be the key to unlocking your productivity potential? Welcome to the world of the deadline mirage. The concept of the deadline mirage might seem paradoxical at first. After all, aren't we trying to reduce stress and make productivity more enjoyable? How can adding pressure possibly help? The answer lies in understanding the unique way our minds respond to deadlines and time constraints. Think back to a time when you had a real, immovable deadline looming. Perhaps it was a work project, a school assignment, or even preparing for a special event. Remember how your focus sharpened, how distractions seemed to fade away, and how you managed to accomplish more in those final hours than you had in days or weeks leading up to it. That's the power of a deadline in action. But here's the catch. Not every task in our lives comes with a built-in deadline. Many important tasks, especially those related to personal growth or long-term goals, don't have that external pressure pushing us forward. This is where the deadline mirage comes into play. The deadline mirage is about creating that sense of urgency, even when no real deadline exists. It's about harnessing the focusing power of time pressure without the stress of actual consequences. By setting artificial time limits for your tasks, you can trick your mind into entering that highly productive state typically reserved for last-minute rushes. But why is this approach particularly effective for ending laziness? The answer lies in how it creates urgency and focus. When we're feeling lazy, it's often because we feel like we have all the time in the world to complete a task. There's no rush, no pressure, so we put it off. By introducing a deadline, even an artificial one, we create a sense of urgency that can overcome our tendency to procrastinate. Moreover, this technique encourages efficient work habits. When we know we have limited time to complete a task, we naturally become more focused and less likely to waste time on distractions. We prioritize what's truly important and find ways to streamline our processes. So, how can you implement the deadline mirage in your own life? Start by identifying tasks that you've been putting off or that tend to drag on longer than they should. These are prime candidates for artificial deadlines. Next, assign a realistic but challenging time limit to each task. The key is to make it believable enough that your mind takes it seriously, but tight enough that it creates a sense of urgency. For example, if you have a report to write that you've been procrastinating on, you might set a deadline of 2 hours to complete a first draft. Or, if you've been meaning to clean out your closet, you could give yourself a strict 30-minute time limit to sort through one section. As you set these deadlines, it's important to treat them as if they were real. Use a timer, and when the time is up, stop working on that task. This might seem counterintuitive. What if you haven't finished? But remember, the goal here isn't just to complete the task, it's to train your mind to work more efficiently under pressure. The deadline mirage leverages a principle known as Parkinson's law, which states that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. By artificially limiting the time available, you force yourself to work more efficiently and effectively. You might be surprised at how much you can accomplish in a short, focused burst of activity. To make this strategy even more effective, consider tracking your performance under these simulated deadlines. Keep a log of the tasks you attempt, the time limits you set, and how much you actually accomplish within those limits. This will help you refine your approach over time, setting more accurate and effective deadlines for different types of tasks. The potential outcomes of mastering the deadline mirage can be significant. At a basic level, you might find improved focus on tasks. The artificial time pressure can help you tune out distractions and concentrate on the task at hand. This alone can be a powerful antidote to laziness and procrastination. As you continue with this approach, you might experience consistent completion of tasks within your set time limits. You'll develop a better sense of how long different tasks actually take, and you'll become more adept at estimating and managing your time. In the best-case scenario, you could develop a mastery of time management and productivity. The deadline mirage can help rewire your brain to associate focused work with a sense of urgency and accomplishment. Over time, you might find that you naturally work more efficiently, even without explicit deadlines. However, like any powerful tool, the deadline mirage comes with potential pitfalls. One risk is feeling overwhelmed by the constant pressure of deadlines, even if they're self-imposed. If you find yourself stressed by the technique, it's important to adjust your approach. Make your deadlines more realistic, or build in buffer time between tasks to allow for recovery. Another potential issue is ignoring the deadlines you set for yourself. If you consistently blow past your artificial time limits without consequences, the technique loses its effectiveness. To combat this, consider using accountability partners. Share your deadlines with a friend or colleague who can check in on your progress and help keep you on track. Remember, the goal of the deadline mirage isn't to make you constantly stressed or rushed. It's about harnessing the focusing power of deadlines to overcome laziness and boost productivity. It's a tool to help you accomplish more in less time, freeing you up to pursue other interests or simply enjoy more leisure time without the nagging feeling of unfinished tasks. As you start to implement the deadline mirage in your life, pay attention to how it affects not just your productivity, but also your overall attitude towards tasks and time management. You might find that it not only helps you get things done more efficiently, but also changes your relationship with time and deadlines in general. The deadline mirage is a powerful reminder that our perception of time is malleable and that we can use this to our advantage. By creating artificial urgency, we can tap into reserves of focus and efficiency that we might not have known we possessed. As we conclude this chapter, I encourage you to experiment with the deadline mirage. Choose a task you've been putting off, set a challenging but achievable time limit, and see what you can accomplish. Be playful with it, and don't be afraid to adjust your approach as you learn what works best for you. And as you explore the power of simulated deadlines, consider this. What if the most effective motivator isn't something you create for yourself, but something that naturally occurs when you're in the presence of others? In our next chapter, we'll delve into a concept that might seem counterintuitive at first. How can simply having someone else in the room, even if they're not directly involved in your task, dramatically boost your productivity? The answer lies in a fascinating psychological phenomenon that turns solitary work into a shared experience. But for now, focus on mastering the deadline mirage and watch as artificial time pressure transforms your approach to tasks and time management. Chapter 8, Body Doubling. Have you ever noticed how your behavior changes when someone else is in the room? Perhaps you sit up a little straighter, focus a bit more intently, or feel a subtle pressure to stay on task. This phenomenon isn't just in your imagination. It's a powerful psychological effect that can be harnessed to boost your productivity and overcome laziness. Welcome to the world of body doubling. At first glance, the term body doubling might conjure images of Hollywood stunt doubles or complex scientific experiments. But in the realm of productivity, it refers to something much simpler, yet equally powerful. It's about leveraging the presence of another person to enhance your focus and motivation. Think back to a time when you were working on a challenging task. Maybe you were struggling to get started, or perhaps you found your mind wandering every few minutes. Now imagine if someone else was in the room with you, quietly working on their own task. How might that change your behavior? This is the essence of body doubling. But why does the mere presence of another person have such a profound effect on our productivity? The answer lies in our deeply ingrained social instincts. As humans, we're inherently social creatures. We've evolved to be acutely aware of others around us and to modify our behavior accordingly. This social awareness can be a powerful tool in our fight against laziness. When we're alone, it's easy to succumb to distractions or to talk ourselves out of doing difficult tasks. There's no one watching, no one to disappoint but ourselves. But introduce another person into the equation, and suddenly we feel a subtle pressure to stay focused and productive. It's not about showing off or competing. It's about a basic human desire to meet social expectations. This is why body doubling is so effective for ending laziness. It leverages social accountability to maintain focus. When someone else is present, even if they're not directly involved in our task, we feel a sense of obligation to stay on track. We're less likely to check our phones, browse social media, or engage in other time-wasting activities because we're aware of the other person's presence. Moreover, body doubling provides support and motivation through partnership. Even if you're working on completely different tasks, there's a sense of camaraderie that comes from working alongside someone else. This shared experience can make difficult tasks feel more manageable and less daunting. So how can you implement body doubling in your own life? The technique is surprisingly flexible and can be adapted to various situations. The most straightforward approach is to find a friend, family member, or colleague who also has work to do and arrange to work together in the same space. This could be at a library, a coffee shop, or even in your home. But what if you can't physically be in the same space as someone else? Thanks to technology, body doubling can also be done virtually. Video calls can create a similar effect to being in the same room. You and your body double can agree to keep your video on while you work, creating that sense of shared presence even when you're miles apart. The key to effective body doubling is to establish clear guidelines and expectations. This isn't about constant interaction or collaboration. In fact, too much chatting can defeat the purpose. Instead, it's about creating a focused, productive atmosphere where both parties can work on their individual tasks. To get started with body doubling, try setting up regular work sessions with a partner. These could be daily, weekly, or whatever frequency works best for you. During these sessions, agree to work silently on your respective tasks, with perhaps a brief check-in at the beginning and end of the session. As you implement body doubling, pay attention to how it affects your productivity. You might want to keep a journal to track your focus levels, task completion, and overall satisfaction with your work sessions. This can help you refine your approach over time and identify what works best for you. The potential outcomes of mastering body doubling can be significant. At a basic level, you might find increased focus during your work sessions. The subtle pressure of having someone else present can help you stay on task and resist distractions. As you continue with this approach, you might find yourself regularly completing tasks with a partner. The consistency of scheduled body doubling sessions can help establish a productive routine, making it easier to tackle even challenging tasks. In the best-case scenario, you could develop a mastery of collaborative productivity techniques. Body doubling might become just one tool in your arsenal, complementing other strategies you've learned to boost your productivity and overcome laziness. However, like any powerful tool, body doubling comes with potential pitfalls. One risk is becoming distracted by your partner. While the presence of another person can be motivating, it can also be a source of distraction if not managed properly. To avoid this, it's crucial to set clear boundaries and expectations with your body double. Agree on rules about conversation, breaks, and any other potential interruptions. Another potential issue is becoming overly dependent on your partner for productivity. While body doubling can be a fantastic tool, it's important to maintain the ability to work effectively on your own as well. To prevent this, gradually increase your independent work sessions alongside your body doubling practice. Remember, the The goal of body doubling isn't to become reliant on others for your productivity, but to leverage social dynamics to overcome laziness and boost your focus. It's about creating an environment that naturally encourages productivity rather than forcing yourself to work through sheer willpower alone. As you start to implement body doubling in your life, pay attention to how it affects not just your productivity, but also your overall attitude towards work and challenging tasks. You might find that it not only helps you get things done more efficiently, but also makes the process of working more enjoyable and less isolating. Body doubling is a powerful reminder that productivity doesn't have to be a solitary struggle. By tapping into our social nature, we can create a more supportive and motivating work environment, even when tackling individual tasks. As we conclude this chapter, I encourage you to experiment with body doubling. Reach out to a friend or colleague and propose a joint work session. Be clear about your goals and expectations and see how working in the presence of another person affects your focus and productivity. And as you explore the power of social presence in boosting your productivity, consider this. What if the key to sustained motivation and success lies not in any single technique, but in a broader shift in perspective? In our final chapter, we'll zoom out and explore a concept that ties together everything we've discussed so far. How can looking beyond immediate goals and embracing a lifelong journey of growth transform your approach to productivity and personal development? The answer lies in a powerful mindset shift that can turn every challenge into an opportunity for growth. But for now, focus on mastering body doubling and discover how the simple presence of another person can unlock new levels of focus and productivity in your life. Chapter 9, Beyond the Horizon. As we reach the final chapter of our journey together, it's time to lift our gaze from the immediate path before us and look towards the horizon. The strategies and techniques we've explored throughout this book are not just tools for today or tomorrow, but keys to unlocking a lifetime of growth, achievement, and fulfillment. Think back to where you were when you first opened this book. Perhaps you were struggling with laziness, feeling stuck in a cycle of procrastination and unfulfilled potential. Now, armed with an arsenal of powerful techniques, you stand at the threshold of a new chapter in your life. But this isn't the end of your journey. It's just the beginning. The true power of what you've learned lies not in its immediate application, but in how it can transform your entire approach to life and personal growth. You've gained more than just productivity hacks. You've developed a mindset that embraces challenge, seeks out discomfort, and views every obstacle as an opportunity for growth. This newfound perspective empowers you in ways you might not yet fully realize. The confidence you've gained in facing challenges head-on will spill over into every aspect of your life. You'll find yourself approaching difficult conversations, daunting projects, and personal goals with a sense of excitement rather than dread. The techniques you've mastered for personal growth aren't just applicable to your to-do list, they're tools for reshaping your entire life. But the impact of your transformation extends beyond just you. As you continue to grow and push your boundaries, you'll find that your relationships begin to evolve as well. The shared experiences of overcoming challenges and pursuing growth create a common language, deepening your connections with others. Your newfound resilience and positive approach to discomfort can inspire those around you, creating a ripple effect of growth and achievement. Moreover, the mutual support you've learned to harness through techniques like body doubling can be applied to all your relationships. You'll find yourself naturally creating supportive environments, not just for your own growth, but for the growth of those you care about. This reciprocal support system can lead to stronger, more meaningful connections in all areas of your life. Now, let's talk about what you're capable of achieving with these new tools at your disposal. Goals that once seemed impossibly large or complex now appear as exciting challenges to be broken down and conquered. The Tomorrow Paradox allows you to connect with your future self, making long-term aspirations feel immediate and achievable. Tiny trials give you the means to tackle even the most daunting projects one small step at a time, But perhaps most importantly, you now have the ability to sustain long-term motivation and productivity. The random jackpot keeps you engaged and excited about your tasks, while the deadline mirage helps you maintain a sense of urgency and focus. You're no longer at the mercy of fleeting motivation or temporary willpower. You have a system for consistent, sustainable progress. As you continue to practice and refine these concepts, you'll find that your results improve with less and less effort over time. What once required conscious application of techniques will become second nature. The inverse game will become an instinctive response to resistance, and future pacing will be as natural as breathing. You'll achieve more while expending less mental energy, freeing you up to push even further beyond your current horizons. Reflecting on the journey you've undertaken through these pages, it's crucial to recognize the profound shift in your relationship with pain and discomfort. What once may have been seen as obstacles to be avoided are now recognized as essential catalysts for growth. This embrace of challenge is perhaps the most valuable tool you've gained, a lifelong asset that will serve you in every endeavor you undertake. The techniques you've learned are not fleeting tricks, but lifelong tools for success. They're adaptable, scalable, and applicable to any goal or challenge you might face. As you grow and your ambitions evolve, these tools will grow with you, allowing you to continuously push your boundaries and redefine what's possible. This brings us to the heart of what lies beyond the horizon, the continuous pursuit of goals and personal growth. The journey you've begun doesn't end with the achievement of your current objectives. Each summit you reach reveals new peaks to climb, new horizons to explore. The true value lies not just in reaching your destinations, but in who you become along the way. As you push beyond your immediate goals, you'll find that your capacity for growth and achievement expands. What once seemed impossible becomes your new normal. You'll look back on your former self with a mix of pride for how far you've come and excitement for how much further you can go. In this continuous journey of growth and self-discovery, it's essential to recognize and celebrate the value of the journey itself. Each challenge you face, each moment of discomfort you embrace, is shaping you into a stronger, more capable version of yourself. The person you are becoming is the true reward of your efforts. As we conclude this book, I want to leave you with a powerful truth that encapsulates everything we've explored. The pursuit of comfort is a path to stagnation, but the embrace of challenge is the road to extraordinary achievement. By choosing to seek out discomfort, to push beyond your limits, and to view every obstacle as an opportunity, you're not just ending laziness, you're unlocking your full potential. The strategies and mindsets you've developed through these pages are more than just productivity tools. They're keys to a life of continuous growth, achievement, and fulfillment. You now possess the ability to transform any challenge into an opportunity, any setback into a stepping stone. Remember, the horizon is not a destination. It's a reminder that there's always more to explore, more to achieve, more to become. As you close this book and step into the next chapter of your life, carry with you the knowledge that you have within you the power to overcome any obstacle, achieve any goal, and continuously redefine what's possible. Your journey of growth and achievement is just beginning. The discomfort you embrace today is sculpting the extraordinary person you're becoming. So step boldly into the challenges that await you, knowing that with each step, you're not just moving towards your goals, you're expanding the very limits of your potential. The horizon beckons, and your journey of growth and achievement is just beginning. The discomfort you embrace today is sculpting the extraordinary person you're becoming. As you step boldly into the challenges that await, remember that true mastery lies not just in doing more, but in doing what matters most. The path to extraordinary achievement isn't always about pushing harder. Sometimes it's about working smarter. What if the key to unlocking your full potential lies in doing less, not more? There's a powerful approach that can amplify the results of everything you've learned so far. To discover how to maximize your success while minimizing your effort, dive into the audiobook, Work Minimalism: How to Work Less and Earn More. Tap the center of the video now to continue your transformation journey.